back. Today I want to discuss Kenpo versus Kenpo. Alright, I had never heard the word Kempo before I met the people in Ryukyu Martial Arts Company. I'd heard Kenpo because I'd studied Kenpo karate, and I knew what Kenpo was. You know, Ken meaning the Japanese or the Chinese kanji meaning fist, and Po meaning way. It's the same word that the Chinese in Mandarin would pronounce quanfa. It's also the same word that would be called kanfa in Cantonese. So essentially, the way it's pronounced is pretty well dependent upon the area from which the speaker comes from. Now we come to the actual word itself. The first time that I ever saw anything with Master Oyata and his students was when they showed me a video that he'd taken in 1968. And amateur and a half is the way to put it, but it showed him doing the forms that they wanted me to learn and to be with them. And they put up, for every one of the names, they put up a sheet, like a bed sheet, a white bed sheet, with the words written on it. Now, they called it Ryukyu Kenpo. They spelled it with an N at this time. Somewhere along the line, and I'm not certain which, they started calling it Kempo. That's the way they heard Oyata pronounce it. And basically, that is the way it is pronounced by a lot of native speakers in Okinawa. They kind of close their lips when they're saying it, and as a result, the N comes out as an M. So he would say Kempo. His accent was very strong. They couldn't understand also the names of some of the forms, and they were written according to what they sounded like. Of course, later on, everybody learned how to spell them correctly, and so whatever it was for Naihanchi, we finally got it to where it was spelled correctly. And the same with the other forms. However, the word Kenpo, they were calling it Kempo, and they were pretty adamant about it. The organization decided it was Ryukyu Kenpo, and when Oyata came back, when Oyata had come back, he'd asked about it, or actually before, I believe, when he first came, he was speaking to the guys, and he asked them about the name that they wanted to call the organization. They said it Ryukyu Kenpo. That's what it was. It became Kempo instead of Kenpo. Now, problem I had was I tried to look up Kenpo in Japanese English dictionaries. I didn't find it. I couldn't find it. Of course, I wasn't going to look in Chinese because they call it quanfa, chuan meaning fist. For example, you got Daichi Chuan, which means grand ultimate fist, I guess. And fist way was with an N. Japanese properly transliterated it to Kenpo. I don't care what Wikipedia says, they're not correct. It's the name that they heard Oyata saying without understanding. Now, Master Nakimura called it Okinawan Kenpo. Of course, he said Kempo, just like everybody else, but they spelled it Kenpo. In the beginning, the first video I saw of Master Oyata from 1968 was Kenpo. Again, spelled correctly, but mutilated as it goes along. Well, push come to shove, Master Oyata did not care one whit about the English in reality. And the fact is, when he published the Chokimatobu's book, they called it, tell you what, wait a second, I'm going to go get the book. I have it. Just a moment. Okay, here we go. This is the book, the historical one that he made. It's Choki Matobu's Okinawan Kenpo Karate Jutsu on Kumite. You can see some of the signatures and things of that nature. Used old pictures. It's a historical collector's edition. And in it they came with the little certificate of authenticity. Mine signed by Master Oyata. You'll notice it's number 15. 10 were put back to be saved, and the first ones were given out. They were given out in sequence, basically according to the position of the people in the organization. So Albert Giraldi got number 1, I'm pretty sure. Jim Logue got number 2. Bill Wiswell got number 3. Greg Lindquist got number 4, and I got number 5. Which, considering 10 were already put back, that's, of course, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15, which is this edition. The interesting thing is, they demanded it be spelled Kempo, but Mrs. Wagner, who did the translation, when you open the book and you're reading it, it's got a nice picture of Choki Matobu. It's got a few things about the publication, the fact it was first in the dialect. And then you have a bit about the author. And we continue to the introduction. Now, in the introduction, they're talking about the technical assistance and translator comments are made only as footnotes. They were to help the American reader. But if you look at it, when you're reading it, you'll find out that lo and behold, Miss Mia Wagner actually spelled it Kenpo. That's correct. Even though the title says Kenpo, inside, Mrs. Wagner, who's a native Japanese speaker and also knows how to translate and transliterate, wrote it correctly, Kenpo, right in here. Now, what's that say about things? This says basically absolutely nothing. More people piled on, and Oyata became very famous quickly, and his students were constantly calling it Kempo. I did too, Ryukyu Kempo. I was one of the organization. I did exactly like everybody else. I went ahead and said it Kenpo. Truthfully, it took a few years before I actually decided to investigate and found out why Master Nakimura's was spelled Kenpo, Master Odo's was spelled Kenpo, and ours was spelled Kempo. And I realized we were the ones that were mistaken. Everyone who copied us because of the fame of Master Oyata, prime example being George Dillman, who originally was a very nice person, no ifs, ands, or buts. He was studious, he learned, he did all kinds of things. What happened later, I have no control. Nobody had any control over it except George. He did what he did. That's what is. I'm not going to complain. You know what you can see, and what is what. Doesn't matter. And the internet came into existence. This helped us with Jeffrey's English-Japanese dictionaries. This helped us with a lot of things in that nature. In fact, you could now go onto the internet and you can see all kinds of things, forms, things of that nature, techniques, people calling their systems this and that. And Oyata, who was very famous at this particular time, being on Black Belt Magazine and all of the others and things of that nature. In fact, I was supposed to be on the first cover with Black Belt Magazine. Unfortunately, Master Oyata wanted to do the photo shoot with Greg Lindquist, and Greg is no actor, to put it mildly. He could not pretend anything. As a result, Master was called back to California to redo the shoot. He took my student Rocky Levitt with him in order to do the shoot, and Rocky was on the cover instead of me. That's what it is. Water under the bridge, I don't really care now. Happened so long ago, that's what it is. It's basically Ryukyu Kempo versus Kenpo. Kempo is not correct. It's what we were calling it back then when we had no ability to actually understand the differences. We listened to what he said. We tried to imitate in English letters what we were hearing, and that's what happened. So now you know. And it also, I have the feeling, is one of the reasons why, as he was corrected over and over and over again by native Japanese speakers, he decided one of the reasons, a minor reason, that he tossed away the name. He said it was generic. In reality, it wasn't. The true words, Ryukyu Kenpo or Ryukyu quanfa, depends upon if you're speaking Mandarin or not, was being utilized all around. He wanted to make sure people understood that his system was different, what he taught was different, and truly it was. It very truly was. He changed it to his way of doing things. Master Odo was asked not to use, even though he was designated by Master Nakimura as the one to take over the Okinawan Kenpo Association. He was asked not to use the name anymore, so he started calling his Ryukyu Hon Kenpo Kobujitsu. Master Odo was also one of my students. Excuse me. One of my instructors, one of my teachers. I learned from his students. I learned from Bill Marin, one of his students who learned with him in Okinawa, and I learned from Butch Marin, another of his students, who was with him for years and years and years. I never got to meet Nick Flores, who actually lived above him in the dojo, lived above in the room, he and his family. Nick Flores is a wonderful person. He has his own channel, he has his own stuff, and this Master Odo's and Master Nakimura's. Very nice person. Okay, I made a little mistake there. I learned first with Bill Marin, then I learned with Master Odo, then I learned with Butch Spain, not Butch Marin, Butch Spain. Butch and his wife came over to Israel with us here at Kfar Adumim and got to visit the country, got to go around, look at different things, and ran seminars to help my students and the people that were working for me teaching Master Odo's systems also. So, sorry about the little mess. Bill Marin, Master Odo himself, and Butch Spain were the three people of Master Odo's system that I did learn from. I made a little mistake in the video. This is to correct it. I changed my name again to differentiate, so I call ours Ryukyu Kenpo Kobujitsu. That way I'm not confused with the others. And of course, later on, Master Oyata changed the names totally. His prerogative, his system, he can teach what he wants, how he wants, name it what he wants, how he wants. It's fine by me. I'm easy to get along with. And with that, I'm going to say thank you very much for listening. We do, once again, read your comments. We do. Honestly, I read every single one of them. We respond to them also. I don't just leave you hanging. One of the problems I have is a lot of times I'm not notified that you're making the comments. Once I'm notified, I look for them and I try to find them. For some reason, I don't know why, but when I'm looking on YouTube or Rumble, they're not listing the comments a lot of times. But this is more information. I hope you find it interesting. It's probably boring to most of you. That's okay. The people who care, and they're interested. They enjoy understanding and gaining knowledge. The others, well, whatever. Poof it off. So have a good time. Have fun in your training. Continue with your training. Don't stop. Doesn't matter who you learn with, as long as it fits you. That's the important thing. You have to like what you're doing, and it has to be what you want to learn. If you've got those little things together, bingo, it is the correct style you're studying. With that, say bye-bye. Till we meet again. Take care.